Hello, I'm Sora Luxon, and this is Tarot Card The World, in some decks labeled as the Universe. So here you've come into your own. This is the Maid card, the final card of the major arcana. This is the card of synthesis, of things as they are coming together. The World Upright symbolizes an individual at the center of everything, a successful conclusion to a life event, wholeness, unity, someone who's right in the middle, front and center of a really super abundant, bountiful time and environment. This person's current situation is plentifully overflowing. We see movement here, so travel is suggested, along with the bound laurel circlet representing the earth in its physical manifestation, and all those wonderful interwoven relationships between the environment and all of those who live within the environment's physical and temporal constraints. All of these wonderful corporal elements are working together in a balance, creating a stable, plentiful harmony. The air dancer's wands are dynamically balanced within the borders of the internal unity she finds herself within. Ecology itself is represented here with the fully realized depiction of someone who is just really entirely, wholly part of, within, and at the center of their experience, at the center of the representatives of the four corners of the universe, those four compass points, four seasons, the four fixed signs of the zodiac. In the middle of them, she's dancing lightly, looking to what she's finished in the past appreciatively, while her body continues forward into the future. The spiral of the cyclical being of all is shown, along with Saturn's path, conveying the defined limits of things. A purple helix banner caught up and around her infinite turning. Everything you need is being provided here. That is what this card is saying to you. There is happiness and a fulfilled joy for being living, for being living physically, for being alive. A respect and recognition for and of the earth and nature is present, along with a strong sense of being connected to the earth and its systems. There is a complete system, a whole world, and everything you need is in it and being provided to you. There is a sense of fulfilled satisfaction here, often the result of a recently finished project or potential that has become fully recognized and has been brought into effect, right? These are things as they are. The power and authority of the circle is shown clearly, a sign of useful, stable boundaries being created and maintained. Someone who is embodying and fulfilling their authority and power. This mastery of jurisdiction isn't necessarily strictly symbolizing occultic sovereignty or occultic sovereignty of self. It can also be psychological or spiritual in nature, as an individual who has and is maybe defining healthy emotional boundaries between themselves and others, or healthy relationship boundaries. Possibly even someone who's just currently being a supremely good multitasker. They're managing the balancing act of life with power and grace, possibly functioning with, using, and interrelating many different exterior projects, many different ideas, influences, relationships, someone who can see all the parts and is at their center, employing them well as a whole. Maybe it's a position of power and authority in the workplace that's being maintained well, or that position is now established well. So the world is suggesting when you pull it from the deck. What's the advice? What should you do? YOLO. Enjoy life. Take joy in the world. Consider traveling maybe, meeting new people, trying some new physical sensate type of thing. Get out, break out of your routine, explore, be adventurous to some extent. Everything you need is here for you. So do stuff. Get out there and do. The whole world is waiting and it's yours. If something isn't quite finished, finish it. Finalize it. If there's an almost done project at work, for instance, clinch it, conclude it, confirm it, whatever. The decision, the last leg of the previous journey, whatever it was, Add those finishing touches and bring it to completion so you can step back out. You are at the center of things right now. This is your time, so use it. Observe and salute your success and recognize, celebrate your empowered state of being fully a part of the world and life. That's what you are. So, what is the world revealing if it comes out of the deck reversed, upside down, in its reversed form? The world reversed is sluggishness or being dormant, like if someone's really stuck, possibly because they have too much going on, too much of a juggling act, and they're just totally overwhelmed into a state of not being able to move at all, perhaps. There's too much world, too much life, too many relationships and systems whirling around. And rather than being at the calm center in full control of all these swirling elements, it's become chaos. It's out of control. There's this storm all around an individual. You could be stuck at the crazy center of this storm, stuck in some sort of situation that you can't get out of. The world reversed can also be describing an individual who has a rather bigoted mindset or a very narrow worldview, the biased pinpoint perspective of judgment rather than the fully functioning whole circular perspective of things. Perhaps someone who can't see the forest for the trees. A misunderstanding of the egoic self can be seen here. Someone who is maybe being self-centered or incredibly stubborn and refusing to acknowledge the perspective or experiences of others. Maybe they're being set against new or different ideas and perspectives. They're just not taking those into consideration. Since the circle of balance, sovereignty, and authority is reversed, we have symbolized the breakdown of all those healthy boundaries and limits that were being created and maintained in the card upright. So this is instead the lack of those boundaries, the lack of that authority and royal purple sovereignty, the lack of harmonized control. That lack of control could be creating insecurity, doubts, just an overall unsureness, either because of too many tasks and no useful limits being invoked correctly, or perhaps because an environment is foreign in some way. Maybe it's a new place, maybe it's a new job or a new project, and you haven't found your feet yet. Either way, the world reversed is suggesting that a lack of surety and a lack of defined space, either physical or mental, is going on, and it's causing some problems. So what to do, right? What's the advice if the tarot provides you with the world reversed? Well, it could be just that travel or travel plans of some kind are going to be disrupted, or that they should be disrupted. So it could be advising you on that. It could be advising that you need to move slowly, move carefully. If you can't see where the ground is firm yet, it's best to be cautious and feel things out. Take tiny steps until you build back up to and find your authority again. You don't have to take on everything all at once. If the pieces are spinning out of control, it's often best to just choose one at a time, to tackle and deal with one thing at a time. Bit by bit, step by step, is far more constructive than trying to grab at everything at once. Pick one task and get it done. Finish it, set it aside, and then move on to the next small thing. This is how you will begin to bring all the elements back under control, back into balance again. Now probably isn't the best time to dive headlong into a totally new type of environment or experience either. Maybe hold off a while. Also, consider that you might be being stubborn. If you are, recognize it. It could be why stuff isn't working or moving the way you'd like it to. It could be you. Don't make any sudden decisions or sudden full-on movements without reflecting first. Jumping blindly into a chaotic mess isn't going to solve anything. Consider yourself and your perception of others. Consider taking other people's perspective and experience into account. Consider keeping things small and simplifying. Maybe release some of the less necessary tasks. Whittle the to-do list down a bit so that that list isn't impossible anymore and it becomes manageable. Slow and small and detail oriented is the way to approach things now. Take a breath and go at it calmly and focused, one part at a time. You could even step back entirely. Just step out of the world and all of its demands for a while. Take a minute to yourself. Reflect on how you can't always be in control. You can't always be right about everything. Some people's opinions on things won't be changed by you, and maybe you shouldn't be trying to. Maybe your opinions aren't as accurate or justified as you believe them to be. And it's possible you've gone too far. It's possible that you've crossed the line somewhere, or perhaps someone has disrespected your line in the sand. Either way, respectful boundaries have been overstepped, either by you or by another. So take a good, calm moment to yourself. Step away and evaluate that. Until next time.